There is a silence that precedes every storm, a silence that seems harmless, but which is actually the prelude to something greater, something darker. For weeks, in every part of the world, voices, testimonies, and revelations have been multiplying, speaking of an imminent event, a global blackout, announced by multiple sources, prophesied by spiritual figures, and also predicted by analysts who observe with concern the instability of our times. Everything seems to converge toward a date, toward a precise moment, by November. But what lies behind this announcement? Is it just a theory or a warning from heaven? There are prophecies that speak clearly of a sudden darkness, a silence that will fall upon the earth when everything stops. Communications, light, technology. A darkness that will not only be physical but also spiritual, a time of trial in which humanity must rediscover faith, prayer, and hope. According to some mystical revelations, the blackout will be the first sign of a global purification, a moment when everyone will be confronted with themselves, without distractions, without noise, without screens. And it's not only the seers who speak of it. For some time, governments and institutions have begun to issue veiled warnings, inviting energy preparedness, urging people to equip themselves with flashlights, candles, and minimal supplies. Even the church, in some Marian messages spread from Medjugorje and from other recognized apparitions, has reportedly spoken of days of darkness in which blessed light, that of consecrated candles, would be the only one not to go out. The month of November, according to many prophecies, represents a turning point of revelation and trial. It's as if humanity were suspended on a thin thread between the end of one cycle and the beginning of another. The words of the mystics resonate powerfully. Prepare yourselves, because when the world plunges into darkness, only those who have faith will not be lost. And so one wonders, will this blackout be a natural event due to solar storms, failures in electrical grids, or will it be something deeper, a deliberate interruption to awaken humanity from the spiritual torpor into which it has fallen? While the news multiplies and fear grows, those who believe feel in their hearts that nothing happens by chance. The prophecies speak to us of a time of preparation, of a return to the essential, of an urgent call to place God at the center of one's life. And if what has been announced should truly happen by November, will we be ready? In this video, we will analyze together everything that is known about this mysterious blackout, the prophecies, the testimonies, the warnings, and the coincidences that day by day seem to become increasingly precise. We will discover why so many believers are convinced that this is a sign of the times, and what we can do, spiritually and concretely, to face it without fear, but with faith. Because as the Virgin said in a message forgotten by many, when the darkness comes, do not fear. In the light of prayer, you will find my presence. In recent years, Medjugorje has become the beating heart of the strongest and most current Marian revelations. It is from there that, according to many faithful, the great warning from heaven is coming. And when speaking of the possible blackout by November, it is not a collective hallucination or unfounded rumors, but a red thread that unites decades of messages to a precise design, which now seems to have reached its culmination. It all starts from a simple but disconcerting fact. Our Lady at Medjugorje has spoken several times of the light that will go out, of the time of silence, and of the days when humanity will be forced to stop. Words that at the time seemed symbolic, but which today take on an almost literal meaning. Maria, one of the visionaries who still receives daily messages, has clearly said that days will come when what is material can no longer sustain us, and that only those who pray will have light in their hearts and in their homes. Many have connected these words to the so-called period of darkness, a moment of global suspension that precedes the visible sign, that miracle that Our Lady herself promised to leave on Mount Podberdo. But before that sign, according to the messages given to Mirjana, times of great trial will come, during which man will be confronted with the truth of himself. And it is precisely here that the blackout prophecy comes into play. According to the most recent interpretations of the messages from Medjugorje, November represents a spiritual threshold, a month of transition, in which the forces of light and darkness clash in a visible way. It is the month of the deceased, the month of memory, but also of purification. Not coincidentally, in more than one message from the past, Our Lady has invited her children to prepare their homes, purify them with blessing and with the prayer of the Rosary, as if she knew that a time would come when only blessed homes would remain safe. In the latest messages received by Maria, especially between September and October, the language has become more urgent. Pray for those who do not understand that time is short. Pray because Satan wants to darken the world with his shadow. A seemingly spiritual phrase, but one that many theologians and mystics have read as a precise warning, a literal, physical darkness destined to shake humanity. There are also numerous signs that, in these weeks, seem to confirm what was predicted. Anomalous solar phenomena, increasingly intense magnetic storms, partial blackouts in various nations, and global tensions that foreshadow an interruption of communications. All of this cannot be a coincidence. Everything seems to prepare the advent of an imposed silence, of a time when words will give way to reflection and light to prayer. According to Our Lady's words to Mirjana, when there is no more news, do not be afraid. In that silence, God will speak to your heart. It is a message that, read today, sounds like a key to understanding what is about to happen. The blackout will not only be a material trial, but a spiritual sign, a call from heaven to lead humanity back to authentic faith. This is why many believers in Medjugorje and around the world feel that the time is now. Not a time of fear, but of preparation. Our Lady has always insisted, those who pray need not fear, and she has asked to have rosaries, blessed water, and consecrated candles at home, symbols of protection and divine light. If darkness should truly descend by November, it will not be the end, but a beginning. A moment when humanity will find itself face to face with its own fragility and with the need to return to God. Because darkness is never just obscurity, it is the place where faith is ignited. And it is precisely in that night that, as in Bethlehem, Mary's light will shine again to guide her children toward salvation. Faced with these warnings, many wonder, what can we do? How can we prepare if that time of darkness announced truly arrives by November? The answer, as always, has already been given by heaven. In Medjugorje, Our Lady has never left her children without a path to salvation. On the contrary, she has clearly indicated the steps to follow. Return to prayer, confession, fasting, and conversion of the heart. It is not just about accumulating candles or supplies, but about preparing the soul, because when the light of the world goes out, only those who have the light within will not be lost. The first step is daily prayer, sincere, constant, profound. Our Lady at Medjugorje said, "Pray until prayer becomes joy." It is a call not to recite mechanical words, but to live in dialogue with God as a refuge, as a breath that keeps faith alive. The Rosary is her most powerful weapon. Every Hail Mary, the Virgin said, is a spark that lights the light of the soul and drives away darkness. The second step is confession, because purity of heart will be the true protection in difficult days. Reconcile yourselves with God, Our Lady said, because those who live in sin will not be able to recognize the light when it comes. This is why it is urgent to purify one's life, free oneself from the weight of the past, and close the doors that evil uses to enter. Then there is the preparation of homes, an ancient but profoundly symbolic gesture. Blessing one's dwelling, keeping blessed water and consecrated candles, not out of fear, but out of faith. Our Lady has promised that in blessed homes, where people pray, evil will not enter. Blessed candles, in particular, have been cited by many apparitions as the only source of light that will not go out in the days of darkness. Keeping them ready is an act of trust, a sign of obedience to the maternal voice of heaven. No less important is fraternal communion. Our Lady has asked not to close oneself in selfishness or panic, but to help one another. Pray together, be united, because love will overcome every darkness. When everything seems to stop, it will be solidarity, faith lived in community, that will keep hope alive. Finally, the Virgin invites us not to fear. Every message of hers is imbued with a sweet certainty. I will be with you. In trials, in darkness, I will not leave you alone. The blackout, if it truly comes, will not be the end, but a passage, a great purification that will open the way to a new world, founded not on fear, but on the light of faith. To prepare, therefore, does not mean to flee or despair, but to remain steadfast, confident, aware that nothing happens without a divine design. In those moments, Our Lady's words will be our compass. My children, light your souls with prayer. When everything around you goes out, your faith will be my light in the world. May this light never be extinguished within us. And if darkness should truly arrive, let us remember, it will not be to destroy us, but to reveal who we truly are. Because only those who pass through the night can understand the value of dawn.